What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Dolphins Daily, your daily dose of Dolphins content with your boy Chris Kane. Let's talk about the Dolphins. So we wrapped up the draft today, rounds 4 through 7, and we have to do a recap. How did the Dolphins do? Now, you guys know before the draft, I said we have 10 picks. The goal is to get 4 to 5 starters, like just day ones locked in, and then the last 5 are fortifying the team, depth at positions, maybe upside guys. We understood it, right? So we're gonna go through the draft. I had to take a screenshot because there's too many names. We actually only ended up drafting 8 people because we mortgaged some assets to move up and down. But we got Kenneth Grant, Jonas Savanea, Jordan Phillips, Jason Marshall Jr., Dante Trader Jr., Ollie Gordon II, Quinn Ewers, and Zeke Biggers. Based on the list, I think we have 2 day 1 starters. Obviously, our top 2 picks. I think Ali will factor into the rotation because he's much bigger. I mean, he's 6'2" to 225. He's a big guy, right? I think every other position we maybe could have done better. Now, some of this was because we had a first and second round pick, and then we didn't have a pick again until the fifth round. So the third and fourth are when you really get like some of those extra starters, and we just didn't have those picks available to us. Also, if you go to like ESPN.com or other draft analysis, they actually have grades next to each of the players. So this is based on their position rank and like also where you draft them. And the Dolphins' first 2 picks are 88 and 84, which is great. I think anything over 70, you're doing pretty good. High 80s, 90s, crushing it. I think Travis Hunter was a 93 for reference sake. So 88 for Kendall Grant was fantastic. But after it's 88, 84, the next is like 46, and then 41, then 39, then 46. And then Quinn Ewers got a 69 inexplicably. And then Zeke, I think, was 37. So, according to what the ESPN model was, this was not a good draft for Miami. Now, part of that is, again, where we drafted a lot of fifth round picks, seventh round picks. We're basically in the end of the draft. We're getting people at the end of the lineup. So, those numbers shouldn't be super high. But also, we don't know. Let's be honest. We can have a guy being like, oh, he's a seventh round pick. He's never going to pan out. And then that guy becomes like your starting cornerback, right? We know there is some, we think this is going to happen this with all this stuff. We don't know. But just based on the board, based on what we went into the draft to do, I don't believe, if you told Chris Greer by the end of the draft, this is what you're going to have, I don't know if he would be like, I did a good job. That's what I'm saying. Now, it may turn out very well. If you look at how the 8 picks were sectioned off, we went D tackle for 3 of the 8. So when people say, hey, the offense line is your biggest concern, evidently not. We drafted 1 offensive lineman and 3 defensive tackles. So I think the GM believes our biggest issue is the defensive tackle. I also believe he's right. He's right. We weren't good at that position, and we didn't have a lot of depth at that position. So he used the draft to you get the main guy, Kenneth, and then you build everybody in behind him. That makes sense to me. I actually would have liked if we got a second guard. I was surprised that we didn't, and we went secondary for a couple more picks. So I think the players will be selected. Who knows, right? We can't really get into that. I did think we would draft a linebacker at some point, and we did not in the entire draft. And there aren't good linebackers as free agents. So I don't know. I don't think we are particularly deep or like ultra good at that position. I thought it would have been nice to get like a younger, maybe like rotational linebacker piece. We did not get a linebacker, so fine. Um, I would have liked to get a DN because this draft was so deep with defensive ends as well. We didn't do that either. So that means that, again, the management team doesn't believe that was a need. We did draft the corner and a safety. Okay, I think we have the corners were very top heavy. Like the top probably 8 or 9 corners were very good, and then the drop off was pretty legitimate. But because we didn't pick past the second round until the fifth, they all got they all got gobbled up, right? So we kind of got what we can get. We did a profile on Jason Marshall actually because he was a Florida corner, and we thought he might be an option in fifth round, and we did get him in the fifth round. So shout out to Dolphins Daily for getting that one right. And I think he has some upside, but I don't see him being a starter. I see him being maybe like corner 4 or 5. Uh, I'm interested in Jordan Phillips though at D tackle because most D tackles are like built like Kenneth Grant. They're big guys. I mean Zeke is even bigger. Zeke is 6'6", giant tackle. Jordan's 6'2", but he's heavy And his profile basically is his whole thing is getting up under you and getting leverage. And if you remember the gray Aaron Donald, he was undersized for his position. And the thing he mastered the most was leverage. He would always get up under you. But he had obviously amazing hands. He was strong. We're not comparing Jordan Phillips to Aaron Donald. I know what I'm saying. But the fact that we drafted a undersized D tackle when the other two D tackles are bigger, like run stopper level guys, Jordan, he does run stopping, but his biggest thing is getting push. And I don't know if that was intentional. Like, we want to get three levels of height, and I don't know if they were that deep in the weeds with it, but most of the time, you want a big D tackle with long arms that can kind of get people off of you. To be shorter typically means that if the O lineman gets their hands on you, then they can kind of control you. But I'm intrigued because I think if he gets his hands really good, I think he could be an interesting disruptor for the defense. I don't think he'll start, but I do think he could be maybe the first guy off the bench, more or less. So, did we do enough with our picks? At this point I would say no, but that's only because I don't think we have a ton of hits. Of the 8 picks, I think 2 were hits, and I think even Jonah's pick was probably it was a reach to some degree because Tate Ratledge went at the end of the second round, and I had him as my second best guard. I think I had Jonah at 3 or 4. So the fact that we jumped all the way up to get him, and then gave up picks to get him, but I don't think he was the best at the position available, it's a hit because I think he'll still be good. I think he'll be a good player. We did a profile on him. I like him. I don't think he was the best at the position at the time, and I think we gave up a lot to get him. So I'm going to count it as a hit. I do think he'll start. I think he'll be good. Obviously, Kenneth Gray is a hit. I think Ollie Gordon is going to end up being a hit. I just don't know how many carries he's going to get because we're still trying to get the Jalen Wright thing to make sense. Right? We gave up a third-round pick to get him. And then, of course, Devon Achane is our number one. So Devon's got to get his touches. We got to get Jalen Wright also touches to vindicate the pick. And then Ollie Gordon, who 2 years ago, best running back in the country, last year, I don't know what happened to Oklahoma State last year. Absolute disaster. That whole team fell apart. Woof. What happened? So last year, it's part of his stats. I can't absolve it, but he wasn't good last year. But 2 years ago, all world. And he's too talented. He's too physical. He's too big to not give him touches. So I don't know how we're going to use him because he's not necessarily a third down back. He really is a bruiser. He really is a guy that needs carries. But I think he will be used effectively in the offense because the other 2 running backs are very small. So I will pre-count Ollie as a hit. Obviously, our top 2 picks. Every other pick in the draft, I'm like, I don't know. It's not like I don't feel bad about them. It's just as it was happening, there are a number of guys on the board that I was like, oh man, this could be like a really good pick. And then somebody would jump us and take it, or things kept happening. I was very disappointed in how we managed the 5th round because I think we missed an opportunity to get Shador. And I know that some people don't care about that. I know I did a story on him yesterday. But he literally was a pick after our first 5th round pick, which means he was just there. We didn't have to move. Nothing would have been, required to do it. You could have just drafted. We had 3 picks in the 5th round. I don't believe it was we got to get this one guy because we don't have other picks behind it. Is, hey, we kind of want to get a D tackle, maybe a linebacker, cornerback in the 5th. We have 3 picks to do it. We were supposed to get a quarterback in the mid rounds. We ended up getting a quarterback at the very end of the draft in 7th. Y'all know, because I did an episode on it. Y'all know I am not a Quinn Ewers guy. I said it. I said I think Quinn Ewers is a guy. He's not a dude. He's a guy. I don't think he was special. I think Texas had a unbelievable roster around him. Great coaching, just speed and talent, and I think he was ordinary. He was one of the lowest of all the quarterbacks I rated. I was hoping we just wouldn't take him. I thought what we were going to do actually was trade with Cleveland and get Dylan Gabriel because they completely overdrafted him and then drafted Shador. So I thought, well, they're not going to keep both of them. Surely they have to give up one. And Dylan Gabriel most fits in the Dolphins system than any other system. So I thought, okay, we'll give up a 7th round pick and maybe a 6th next year and get Dylan Gabriel. He'll be the backup. He's like a smaller Tua. That makes sense to me. And then we got Quinn Ewers, and now I was confused. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what you saw in the film. I don't know what you saw in in interviews. There's nothing about this game that is what I'm not there. I'm not there. And so I think that was a major miss because I think there's a pathway for Shador to be a starter. I see zero pathway for Quinn ever be a starter in the NFL. But we got depth at, you know, the safety position where we picked up 3 free agents. Like I don't that part confused me. I just the fact that Shador kept falling, I was like, oh my god, he's gonna fall to the Dolphins. And then we just said no thank you, we don't want him. And I think that we definitely needed some linebacker depth. I just don't understand why we didn't get one. I think there were misses there. But I think we got the top 2 picks right. And so if you're going to get your draft right or wrong, you want to get it right at the top because that's when you have your most assets. We had a lot of picks, but a lot of them were backloaded. Some were comp picks. I get it. I'm not in love with it right now. But I'm willing to give any kid a chance, right? I'm not going to just say, oh, the draft failed. I hate all these players. I'm not going to do any of that because late picks can surprise you. I do think there's a chip on your shoulder when you're a later round pick. I'm hoping that they come in and work hard, make the roster. I assume most of them will be special teams that they do. Maybe a rotational piece. And listen, you could emerge. A 5th round D tackle that's kind of like, oh, we'll see what he becomes, could become a mainstay. And if that's the case, then I will take all this back and I'll give an applause. If Quinn Ewers is a dude and he beats out Zach Wilson and, in a pinch he holds us down and wins the game, I'll come right on this channel and tell you, hey, Quinn, I was wrong. I don't think that's gonna happen. I feel almost about Quinn Ewers how I feel about Zach Wilson, except for Quinn hasn't been in NFL, so I can't point to NFL film. I just I don't get it. I just don't get it. But we met with him before the draft, so obviously there was some rapport there. I think the team felt like he would probably be like a non-competition type dude for Tua because we got to make sure the starter's happy, and maybe he can push Zach a little bit, which I think is good. Make the backup work a little bit harder, but overall, not super impressed. I think, and I've seen a lot of draft top 10s who had the best drafts, worst drafts. I've seen Miami pop up on a lot of worst drafts, and I don't think everyone's totally wrong. There's definitely teams that crushed it, like Cleveland. I think crushed it. I think Seattle was great. There's certain teams that I thought, oh, Chicago, like they checked a lot of boxes. I think we checked the main 2 boxes, and then there's a lot of boxes that are I don't know yet. We'll see. But thank you for tuning in to Dolphins Daily. We appreciate it, love and support. Appreciate all the likes, subscribes, reshares, all that good stuff. We'll see you guys next time on Dolphins Daily. Peace.